Thrill Me.
This show is part of the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Experience more on Facebook and YouTube.
It's Review It Man, reviewing what he can. Movies are his jam, so let's get twisted, man. It's Review It Rob.
Hey yo, welcome to a very special edition of the Review It Rob show. I am your host, Review It Rob, coming at you with the goodies this week. As always, you get your mandatory DC news, your mandatory horror news, and any other news going on around the world, as well as a review on the show, typically. Now, this is, like I mentioned, a special edition episode because, as they're recording this episode, it is my birthday, man. Happy birthday to me. Decided to record this show anyways, just because, we do this show every week, man. I love doing the show. This show's a huge part of my life, and couldn't think of a better, start to the birthday week than recording this episode. So, appreciate you joining in, hitting that play, and following along with me as we go and travel around the movie realm for all the news. This is going to be a very news-heavy episode because I did not get to see anything relatively new to review. Be honest with you, I didn't even see any other movies to review this weekend. And I say other movies because I went back to the theaters and saw The Flash, man. I entered the Speed Force once again to check out The Flash because if you listen to last week's episode, I appreciate you first and foremost on that. And by listening to last week's episode, that I absolutely love and adore that movie. So I was hoping and wanting to see the movie again in theaters. The plan is to see it every single week as long as it is in theaters. And, I plan on watching it later today on my birthday. It's one of the main things I want to do for my birthday is go see The Flash in theaters again, man. So I'm going to see that movie again as many times as I can in theaters as much as possible while it is running in theaters in theaters because, again, I absolutely love and adore this movie even better the second time around, and I can't wait to see it again and again and again. I haven't bought a physical copy of a movie in quite some time, but I will be buying the physical copy of this film as soon as it drops on Blu-ray. Pick that up and, all that good stuff, man. But yeah, saw that movie again in theaters, just absolutely in love with it, man. It is a fantastic film from start to finish. And yeah, I don't know, I can listen to my review last week. Maybe got I'm very protective of the things I love, and I love the film. So maybe I got a little annoyed with the way things are, acting towards the film and all that. But hey, what can you do? Sometimes it happens with things you love. The film has now crossed 200 million, I believe. Let me double check that real quick. At the moment, Box Office Mojo is saying the worldwide gross is $210 million, which is, depending on where you find the information, over what the budget was. Apparently the budget was $200 million, then $65 for marketing, apparently, according to this one website. So, it could, make its money back in due time, hopefully. But nonetheless, it's all box office nonsense. And like I said in last week's episode, we all have a film we love and adore that, didn't do well at the box office. But again, imagine making that much money and it not being considered doing good at the box office. But nonetheless, man, that's what I saw. I did want to see the new Jennifer Lawrence film. Maybe I'll get around to seeing that. I do know Indiana Jones comes out this week, so I'll probably get around to seeing that. And have a couple reviews for you next episode, maybe, hopefully. We'll see. Probably do like an Indiana Jones rewatch as well. I think all those movies are on the Disney Plus. Let me double check real quick. All right, and a quick search on Google says the first 4 films of the franchise are available to stream on Disney Plus. All right, cool. After making their move from Paramount Plus in May. And this was 3 days ago via a Variety magazine's website. So they're on Disney Plus apparently, so I might check those films out before going into this one. I don't think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull has anything to do with the film, but who knows? Who cares, man? Just watch them. So I do have that coming up. And again, that Jennifer Lawrence movie does look really good. I've begun to be a fan of her. I've always kind of liked her, but seeing recent interviews with her, especially the actor and actor interview with her and Emma Stone, I think it came out a couple years ago, but I saw it for the first time recently, and those two are like friends in real life, and it was just an awesome experience. And just you see Jennifer Lawrence is like a really cool person in real life, it seems, based on these things. And she was on that Hot One show recently, and she was really awesome. So, kind of becoming a bigger fan of Jennifer Lawrence. Maybe she is in my top 10 favorite actresses. Something to think about at some point in time. But yeah, I do want to see that movie. That movie looks fun. No Hard Feelings, I believe it's the name. So I do want to check that out. But again, Indiana Jones is coming out this week. That'll probably be the number one film. Depending. I mean, haven't seen too many overly positive things about the film, but again, that's all hearsay. We all make our own decisions, right? So, yeah, saw The Flash again, absolutely loved it, gonna see it again and again. Let's go ahead and go into news and kick it off with the DC mandatory news here. First thing to talk about is Blue Beetle. That is the next DC film that is on the horizon. It's going to be here soon enough in August 18th. We're learning more and more about Blue Beetle. Last week's episode talked about how James Gunn said the character will be the first character of the DCU. Which caused some confusion because they're like, okay, the character, what about the movie? The movie's not the first movie because he said Superman Legacy will be the first movie of the DCU. So big confusing. And now the director of Blue Beetle, Angel Manuel Soto, has said, quote, "We are part of the universe. We are part of the world. We are part of the plans that they have been creating for the future installments of the DCU," end quote. He continues on to say, quote, "But we are not tied to all the films from the past. Yes, our movie lives in the world where superheroes exist, but that doesn't mean that a certain event or a certain alliance or certain things from the past dictate where our film is going," end quote. So that's good to know. I mean, there's a little more clarity, if you will, about what's going on with the Blue Beetle film and its connection to things that are happening. So, I'm still honestly a little confused as well about why the character is part of the DCU, but this movie is not the first movie of the DCU. It seems a little confusing. And I do have kind of a theory to go along with this. And, again, I don't want to be overly negative and harsh and mean and all that stuff. But there have been people who have been, I've seen it. They're like, oh, I'm not watching this DC movie. It doesn't connect to anything. I'll just wait till the DCU officially starts and blah, 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 blah. Because in their minds, that is a reason to not see a movie. I don't agree with that. Let's stay trying to stay positive here. I do not agree with that viewpoint. Watching a movie alone is enough reason to watch a movie. But that has been a major theme in what I've seen with people not watching DC films recently. So I'm thinking maybe all this stuff is starting to come out to maybe sway people into seeing the film a little bit more. That could be it. I again, because it doesn't make too much sense. What they're saying doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And that's kind of the confusion around DC. Some of the stuff isn't making sense to some people. You already have Bad Blood with how Batgirl was canceled, which was so long ago, it seems. That I don't know why people are still upset about that. But, Warner Brothers in general is just seeming to have a tough time. Like, I think they're selling off, or could be selling some of their music, TV and film music, to other people. So I don't know what's going on over there at Warner Brothers right now. It seems like a big hot mess ever since that Zaslav guy got over there. Been some positives, we've got the DC Studios now being its own thing, and hopefully have a bright future there. We're getting more Wizarding World stuff. They're doing Lord of the Rings stuff. I've personally never been a huge fan of that, but that's awesome for the Lord of the Rings fans. So they're trying to focus on franchises and rebuilding franchises, but at the same time they're making some questionable decisions that really get you wondering. Now with Batgirl, it was, I think they said it looked like a CW show and wasn't ready and all that stuff. And I can understand. I wish they would have just said, it doesn't make sense to put this out because it was going to come out before The Flash. It doesn't make sense to put this out and all that stuff with, Michael Keaton's, in the Flash film, and he's showing up, and we haven't seen Michael Keaton in the DC universe since, Batman Returns, and, this Batgirl thing would make more sense after the Flash movie. We're going to put Batgirl on hold for a little bit, rework the tooling, and, release it after the Flash, but they went ahead and canceled that, which was their call. I mean, it's their choice, it's their studio and all that stuff. I know a lot of us didn't like that, but it is what it is at the point in time. But I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And again, like I mentioned, there's people who don't want to see the films because they don't connect to anything, which again, I don't agree with, but that is, people's own personal opinions. Like the dude said in The Big Lebowski, man, it's like, man, well, that's just your opinion, man. Or that's like your opinion, whatever. But so, nonetheless, I am excited for that Blue Beetle movie. It does look rather entertaining, and can't wait to see, what the future holds. We just have to wait and see now. James Mangold, who is doing the Swamp Thing thing for TCU, gave us a little bit more about it, saying Swamp Thing will be a gothic horror film. So a little more info in there. Think gothic horror. It's like Sleepy Hollow, right? Or older classic films like The Black Cat, things of that nature, man. The gothic, you know what gothic horror is. Like you know what the things are there. So kind of gonna have that vibe around to it, which is fine. Like Nosferatu, stuff like that. I'm sure it won't be silent and black and white, but a gothic-y horror vibe to the Swamp Thing thing that's coming. Crimson Peak, stuff like that. Visible Man, right? Gothic horror. They'll figure it all out. They'll get their stuff out there and all that. And again, I'm a DC guy. I have a mandatory DC talk on every single episode of my show. So I'm excited for any and everything they have coming for us. But we just have to wait for it and see what happens. Now we're going to enter into the rumor realm for the DC universe. Again, highly stressing these are just rumors floating around the internet. Does not mean they are true whatsoever. 9 times out of 10, they are not true. I'm going to kick it off with Tom Cruise is apparently being courted to be part of the DC Studios universe. Now, most famously, I talked about it multiple times on my show. Tom Cruise saw the Flash film and absolutely loved it and praised it. And now potentially has a role with the DC universe going forward. According to this rumor, Cruise will be in the DC universe and would be none other than Hal Jordan, aka the Green Lantern. Now, I feel like I've heard this rumor a long time ago, and now it's back. Most recent rumor, of course, of Tom Cruise was that he would be Iron Man, and that ended up not happening. And now we're back to DC rumors and him possibly being the Green Lantern, which I 100% support. Love Tom Cruise. I'm a Tom Cruise guy. So having one of my all-time favorite actors being in something I absolutely love with DC would be awesome, right? Now, again, it's just rumors and all that, and some people are saying, oh, well, this is why they sent Tom Cruise a Flash film to get him ready to join the DC universe and all that stuff. It's possible. Like, I can understand that. It's plausible, to say the least, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Tom Cruise hasn't really done a superhero. I mean, hell, he's a superhero in all of his movies, right? Ethan Hunt and all that stuff. So, he doesn't have superpowers, but he's doing incredible things in those Mission Impossible films. And that's another highly anticipated film for me later this year is the next Mission Impossible film. So, I'm all for it. That'd be awesome if, he joined the ranks over here at DC and did some acting and some superhero stuff, especially the Green Lantern. I can see him doing it, but we're going to have to wait and see what ends up happening there. That seems way off in the distance. Next rumor is, of course, casting for Superman Legacy. We've heard all kinds of rumors, and the latest one now is that the Skarsgård brothers, Bill and Alexander Skarsgård, are rumored to be on James Gunn's shortlist to play Lex Luthor in the Superman Legacy film, as well as Nicholas Hoult. Now, the thing with Nicholas Hoult, and according to these rumors, is Nicholas Hoult is on the shortlist to play Superman for James Gunn's Superman Legacy film, which again, all rumors and all that. And I like Nicholas Hoult; he's really good. Check out Renfield. Most recent performance from Nicholas Hoult. He's good in that. And I can see him more as a Lex Luthor character as opposed to a Superman character. But, Bill Skarsgård is absolutely amazing. We absolutely love him and all the things he's done, especially, It. And then most recently he was in the John Wick film and all that. I don't know. I kind of see him as a Joker, not just a clown reasons. I just see that he could, pull it off very well. He's tall. He's, not the most. He's tall. He's lanky. All that stuff, right? So he'd be a pretty good Joker. But Lex Luthor, that's interesting. And then Alexander Skarsgård. I just gotta pull both brothers in here, I guess. Not as familiar with Alexander Skarsgård's work. I know he was in. What was that film? The Northman recently. I know he was in that and everything. It's like a big muscled up, kind of Viking character in that film. So, I mean, obviously you can change, change your look and all that stuff, but it's interesting. I mean, between the 3 rumors here, I would go Nicholas Hoult. Now, all 3 of them do have some kind of, well, I don't know about Alexander Skarsgård, but Bill Skarsgård was in Deadpool 2 and Eternals. And then Nicholas Hoult was in the X-Men franchise as Beast. So there's some comic book background there. But, again, we have to wait and see. Like, we don't know anything that's happening, so we have to wait and see there. Speaking of waiting and seeing, the latest rumor of Jensen Ackles, him from Supernatural, has apparently been cast as Batman for the Brave and the Bold film. Now, again, rumor. This is just absolute rumor. This is something that's been circulating on the internet for a while between Red Hood and, Batman. People have been wanting Jensen Ackles to play the character. And, that comes from the fact that Ackles has done voice work for, Batman in a number of DC animated films. So they are wanting him. The internet is wanting him to be cast for the role, and he did address this recently at an event, saying, "quote I don't know." He said, "Even if I knew, I wouldn't tell you. I mean, could I do it? Sure. Would I do it? Yes." And then he made a joke about Pedro Pascal probably getting the role, which hopefully not. I like Pedro Pascal, but no, not Batman. I'm not against this, to be honest with you. I like Jensen. Like I said, I've seen him mostly in Supernaturals, where you get the hit from me with him. He's been doing the voice for Batman in animated films, so he's got a voice for it and all that. I don't know the age range for what they're going for character wise and his age and all that stuff, but why not? There could be worse choices, right? So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Again, all these are rumors, and we have to wait to see how all of them actually end up happening. But we do know about the Brave and Bold is that Andy Muschietti will be helming the film, and again, fantastic job with the Flash film. Fantastic job with it. Chapter 2 wasn't bad either. Chapter 2 didn't hit me the way the first one movie hit me, but it wasn't overly terrible. So, but mostly the Flash is what we're going to talk about with the two Batmen in the film and all that stuff. So he's ready to go to make that film, and I shall have some idea of who he wants to play Batman, and we'll know when we're supposed to know. All right. Going from DC, let's jump into the horror realms with M. Night Shyamalan's next film, Trap. Learned a little more details about the film, learning that it will be a psychological thriller set at a concert. So psychological thriller, not necessarily new news when coming to a M. Night Shyamalan film. He's very good at the psychological stuff and throwing some kind of twist in there at you. But set at a concert is pretty interesting. That's a new concept that's got me very intrigued. The movie is set to release on August 2nd, 2024, so next year. I mean, I like M. Night Shyamalan. I know some of his films have been missed with a lot of people recently, but well, hit and miss, right? I mean, a lot of people have loved his Split film. Of course, Unbreakable, then Split, and then Glass. And can't remember how people felt about Old. Don't remember too much about that. I still need to see it myself. And Knock at the Cabin was the most recent one he did, and slow paced. Not overly, going to excite you with things blowing up or things of that nature. But solid enough film. Like, I enjoyed it enough. So I mean, he's got my attention. Psychological thriller set at a concert. Why not? By the way, Psychological Thriller would be a good name for like a metal band. So, nonetheless, we'll see how it happens with that film on August 2nd of next year. Speaking of films that we're going to see what happens with, Saw 10, as it's now known as Saw X. They debuted the logo for that. Put an X on your calendar, they put on the post. Put an X on your calendar. Saw X comes to Midsummer Scream the weekend of July 28th, so pretty much a month from now as they're recording this episode. The presentation will offer exclusive mind-bending glimpses into the upcoming film Saw X, which is hitting theaters later this year, October 27, 2023, continuing the Saw legacy of releasing their films around Halloween time, except for Spiral. I feel like Spiral released at a completely different time in the year, but I'm trying to look it up and talk at the same time. But yeah, I don't remember that one releasing around October. That released like May? Yeah, May 14th, 2021. So, which I didn't hate that movie either. But returning to the roots is what we've heard about this film so far. We know Tobin Bell's back. And they're going to get back to the Saw of it all. So, Saw 10 is on the way. And I assume we'll get our first trailer then, right? And the film's coming October, July, August, September, October. So 3 months from there, right? July, August, September, October. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that makes sense. October 27th release, July 28th is the panel. Yeah, well, maybe that's probably a good time to release our trailer. Maybe we'll get a teaser before and then the full trailer there, or just wait till then to drop the trailer. But of course, Halloween Horror Nights is a thing that I talk about on here. I mean, the October 27th release kind of takes me out of it. Maybe you have a Saw film or a Saw house of like the Mind of Jigsaw or something. I know they've done a Saw house in the past. But yeah, I don't know if this movie per se would be a house at Halloween Horror Nights. We'll let other people speculate about that. Let's see. And final bit of horror news here. A prequel film is in the works for Rosemary's Baby. They did a test screening for the film that was titled Apartment 7A, which ended up being, in fact, the prequel to Rosemary's Baby. The report of the film follows the woman who died outside of the apartment prior to Rosemary moving in to the Bramford. The original Rosemary's Baby, released in 1968. I have not seen the film. Have I seen the film? Have I seen Rosemary's Baby? I have not seen Rosemary's Baby. I need to check that out. But prequel is in the works to Rosemary's Baby, and that seems to be the case with horror films, right? We're gonna go back to a prequel of all the things. If it's not a direct sequel to the original film, a la Halloween, a la The Exorcist, we're getting later this year, they tend to do a prequel. So I have to wait and see. Again, I haven't seen the original Rosemary's Baby, so I don't know what to tell you. And it was directed by Roman Polanski, which did we watch that movie? Do we give Roman Polanski? I don't know. I don't know, but nonetheless, there you go. That's on the way. All right, where are we at? 21 minutes. We're doing pretty good, man. We're doing pretty good. A little bit more news here to jump into before closing out the birthday episode. Other news. We're gonna kick it off with Star Wars news. Why not? Star Wars. Talking about Star Wars. All right. Anyways, the Rey Skywalker movie is on the way, as we all know. Or maybe some of you know. Maybe some of you don't care about Star Wars movies, like Tombstone Josh. But what can you do? I enjoyed the films, right? And I did enjoy that new trilogy. I know that's terrible words to fan bases and all that, but I enjoyed it. That's kind of my Star Wars. Like that's the first Star Wars films I saw in theaters were the new trilogy, Force Awakens, right? So I mean I enjoyed them. Were they the greatest things in the world? Who knows? Some people think yes, some people think no. Some people think The Last Jedi is the greatest film in the franchise history. Some people think Rogue One is the greatest movie to ever exist in Star Wars lore. That's your own personal choice, man. Enjoy what you enjoy, right? But I'm excited nonetheless because again, I like that trilogy a lot. That's kind of my Star Wars, if you will. So I'm excited for any continuation we get, especially with Rey. Rey's probably my favorite Star Wars character. And, the update on the film is it now has officially, apparently, a title. It is Star Wars New Jedi Order, which is very bold of them to make a film called Jedi Order. Because, of course, you got the video games out there, Jedi Fallen Order, which should be a film in its own right. Because, oh my God, so breathtakingly awesome that game is. I haven't played the second one yet. Trying to avoid spoilers. I did have a spoiler revealed for me on the first game before I played. I was like, you mother freaking YouTube. It wasn't even, I didn't click on a video to watch anything. It was just right there in my face as soon as I opened YouTube. I'm like, right in the thumbnail. I'm like, you son of a bitch. But I can't wait to play that game. Anyways, that's apparently the name of this movie. A synopsis apparently for the film is going to be, quote, set roughly 15 years after Rey's victory over Palpatine and the end of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Well, I mean, that's kind of a spoiler for people who haven't seen that. But nonetheless, the sequel delves into Rey's courageous endeavor to restore the Jedi Order, where she assumes the role of a mentor to two promising young students, a girl and a boy. As their training progresses, it becomes evident that the girl possesses extraordinary abilities destined to emerge as the future leader, end quote. It sounds Star Warsy, right? It follows the Star Wars template, if you will. So should be enjoyable nonetheless. Filming will begin April 2024, it seems. I don't know if the writer's strike will hurt that at all. Yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Jumping from the Star Wars universe, we swing over to the Spider-Man universe. You like how I did that? You like that little? Yeah. So they're making all kinds of Spider-Man films over there at Sony that are not connected necessarily to the Tom Holland films. and all that stuff. Of course, you got your Venoms, you've had your Morbius, which I kind of want to rewatch Morbius. I feel like that's one of those movies people just hate to hate. I don't know if it was all that bad. Definitely not as bad as it being made out to be. Again, I like what I like. What can I say? Um, and the other stuff. They have the Madam Web movie coming. Across the Spider-Verse films, and all that stuff. They're making all kinds of Spider-Man films over there. Is what I'm trying to get at. And the most recent one was going to be a film starring Bad Bunny as the main character, music performer, sometime WWE wrestler. Bad Bunny was going to be the star of the film, but that has apparently hit a snag. First thing we heard is that the film was removed from its release schedule and put on an indefinite hold. Now we've learned that Bad Bunny has left the project. Bad Bunny will no longer be part of playing the main role in the film. However, the movie will still be happening, and Sony will be looking for another actor to recast the role. Now, again, I mentioned before, Bad Bunny is a music performer, and I assume the reason for leaving would be to tour, right? So we don't know for sure what happened there. We don't know 100% why Bad Bunny is leaving the film, but nonetheless, it happened. All right, and last bit of news here circles around Ryan Murphy, who has made projects for Netflix, is apparently leaving Netflix at the end of his 5-year overall deal, and is apparently in talks to join Disney and work with some fellows that he worked with before. Murphy has been responsible for some of the biggest hits over there on Netflix, including Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, and The Watcher, most recently. He still has projects coming with Netflix, including a second season to Monster, which will be focused on the Menendez brothers. Yes, the Menendez brothers. And there's a second season of The Watcher on the way as well. He also has shows over there at Netflix with Feud, Capote's Woman, and American Sports Story, which will tell the story of NFL superstar Aaron Hernandez. Ryan Murphy, of course, did the American Horror Story show as well, which, happening over there with FX, and, American Horror Story has been what it has been, all this stuff. But, I mean, do we count that up as like a big loss for Netflix, right? Another big loss for Netflix. They, again, take it how you will. Of course, a lot of people watch Netflix for Stranger Things. Wednesday, most recently, was a huge success for them. We have season 2 on the way for that, which I believe Wednesday, read recently they did some numbers and more people watched that. Not collectively, maybe collectively. Let me look it up to get the actual wording to understand what it did. All right, here we go. So, Netflix has tweaked the metrics it uses to rank its programming. With the new ranking formula, Wednesday takes over the number 1 spot on the top 10 English language show list from Stranger Things Season 4. So, obviously, people have watched in total Stranger Things more than anything on Netflix, I would assume. I don't have that in front of me right now, but in total, that's what we're at. But as a pair, as against each other, singular, 2 shows against each other, Wednesday defeated Stranger Things 4 for the most watched show. Number 1 spot on the top 10 English language show list over Stranger Things 4. So, with the new metrics, Wednesday took the top spot away from Stranger Things 4 for the first time and by a large margin. On the English language TV list, Wednesday brought in 252.1 million views, while Stranger Things 4 hauled in 140.7 million views. Third on the list was Dahmer the Monster, Jeffrey Dahmer story, followed by Bridgerton Season 1 and The Queen's Gambit. So there you go, man. Good congratulations to Wednesday. Wednesday would not care about such things. But there you go. I don't even know why we got there. Anyways, yes, Ryan Murphy leaving Netflix is a loss for sure. Because, again, those 2 successful things, and who would have known if they would have done more of those monster shows after the Menendez brothers season and all that. And then, of course, The Watcher. I'm surprised it even has a second season, but why not? So yeah, it definitely a loss, especially after losing. Oh God, what's his name? Most recently left as well. Mike Flanagan recently left, right? And he did the Haunting shows for for Netflix, right? The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor and all that. Midnight Club, Midnight Mass, all that stuff. So he left as well. So two big losses for Netflix. They're going to be losing Stranger Things soon. After season 5, Stranger Things is done. I know they're trying to figure out some spin-offs. And hopefully they get that figured out. Like I mentioned before, we do have Wednesday season 2 on the way. That should draw some numbers. But Netflix is they don't keep shows running too long. They don't do too many seasons of shows. So we'll see how long Wednesday runs. Don't know what else Netflix has on the Squid Game too, right? Still haven't seen the first Squid Game, but I remember it did pretty well for Netflix. But yeah, I mean that's troubling times over there at Netflix. It seems with creatives leaving the streaming service to go over to other streaming services. Now we'll see what happens with Ryan Murphy and Disney and all that. Of course, FX and 20th Century Fox in it and all that stuff. We'll see. We'll see how things work out. I'm sure everything will be fine, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, and last bit of news here is around the video game realm. I enjoyed this when I saw this. Mortal Kombat 1 is coming soon. When is the release date for that, by the way? Because, Review It Rob does Google all the time. It shows Mortal Kombat 1 video game. That is coming out, looks like September 19th is when that's dropping. And they let us know that if you rage quit during an online session, Mortal Kombat 1's recent online stress test revealed that they will be bringing back the quitality, play on, of course, their fatality. This is the finishing move introduced in Mortal Kombat X, which will only occur during an online match when a player leaves before the end of the winning round. Also known as rage quitting, because they lost. And people online are babies. I had to say it. I don't play online games. I can't stand people that much. But that's hilarious, and I'm glad they do that. And it's one of those fun things that Mortal Kombat does over there. And, I am interested in this game. Like, Mortal Kombat kicks my ass. I'm not going to lie. The last couple of games I've tried to play and just ended up, like, I can't do it, I did enjoy the Injustice games. Those are DC the versions of Mortal Kombat, of course, without the brutalness of the Mortal Kombat franchise. When I say that, I mean like gore and fatalities and all that stuff. We're dealing with heroes and characters and all that stuff. But that game was tough too. But I still enjoyed playing it because it was DC, and I would gladly play a third one if they ever did that instead of just teasing it over and over again. But I am very intrigued with Mortal Kombat 1. Like, that's a start of a new era over there for Mortal Kombat, which, I remember being a kid at like a skating rink playing the Mortal Kombat on the arcade machine. So, color me always interested when Mortal Kombat stuff comes up. But I will end up playing it. I'm not going to play it right away. The $70 mark for video games is just insane, especially for a game where I'm like, oh, that's going to kick my ass. I can wait a good bit. I'm going to do the same thing with Madden. That game doesn't necessarily kick my ass, but it is not worth $70 anymore. So, nonetheless, that's fun, right? And that's all the news. So I gave you all the stuff, man. Sorry I didn't have a review. Again, I went to see The Flash in theaters. Again, I'm not going to apologize for that. I absolutely love that film. Maybe have 2 reviews for you. We'll see how timing works. I mean, anytime I get the chance to go to the theater, I want to see The Flash. So I got to pull myself into the direction of seeing Indiana Jones, more than likely this week, but I do still want to see that Jennifer Lawrence film, so maybe we'll see that. Maybe I'll see both. Maybe I'll see all 3 and, factor in another Flash viewing in there. But we'll see. This Regal Unlimited card is giving me a little bit too much power, and I kind of like it, but also I'm lazy and don't like to get out much, so, we'll have to see how that works. So the movie theater is like 30-minute drive, which isn't necessarily all that long, but at the same time, like I said, I don't like going out in public too much unless I have to. So, who knows? It's crazy in the spring up here. It's wild. But nonetheless, man, I enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed it. Get you a little over 30-minute episode here, man. So kind of close to regular, stuff. I played WWE 2K, finished the women's storyline. That was fun. And you can play the storylines again. There's other options and all that stuff, kind of like the Dark Pictures Anthology films and Until Dawn and all those films, games, basically movies. But you have multiple options in there and gives you replayability. They did that as well for WWE 2K23. So did that over the weekend. There's some stuff to watch. Shudder's got some new stuff out. Children of the Corn's hitting this weekend as well. So we'll see, man. There's all kinds of possibilities of what I'm going to review next week. Who knows? But nonetheless, that does it for this episode, man. Thank you for joining me for my birthday. If you're listening to this as the day it releases, thank you very much. Happy birthday to me. Or if you listen to this later, still appreciate you, man. Anybody taking the time to play this show was awesome. There's insane amounts of podcasts in the world, and my show is just one of them. I absolutely love and adore doing this show every single week. Hope you do as well. And as always, like to end the show out with a little bit of positivity to carry on your day with. So thank you again for joining along. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, week, month, year. And as always, remember that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one remembers to turn on the light. I'll talk to you all next episode.